One of the best ways to deal with the life stealer is, of course, to shut down his mobility during the duration of the rage, and with the dismember that goes through magic community, I think it's a match made in heaven.
Yeah, I'm still not too sold on it. I mean, sure, it's not a bad hero to pick, but showing it off in the first phase, I think teams generally can counter it decently with their drafting knowledge. Yeah. But they pick up the Oracle, which is a support we don't see a lot of nowadays. And I mean, it's not that the hero's bad. It's just that they've improved or buffed the other supports a little bit. So I feel like Oracle has kind of come down on pecking order there.
Yeah, but personally, I do favor the Oracle quite a bit. I think that's a hero that hasn't gotten enough love.
I actually keep seeing you play a lot of Oracle all the time.
That's my go-to solo MMR support, man. Because Ogre's really popular in my brackets, right? So as the roaming 4 position support. One of the best ways to deal with that is you pick up the Oracle, camp the middle lane for the first 3 minutes, shrug off the ignite burn damage with the Fortune's End. Did I call it Fortune's End? It's Fortune's End, my bad. And then you just go back to your lane and harass heroes with your ridiculously low base attack time on that support. Queen's gonna be the pick coming out from Execration though. And then you just go back to your lane and harass heroes with your ridiculously low base attack time on that support. Queen's gonna be the pick coming out from Execration though. And then you just go
picking the
heroes with your ridiculously low base attack.
So I said there's a bit of back and forth coming in from both teams in the draft, but I think Queen of Pain is a pretty decent hero and has had a lot of success in the scene. I mean, it's been a hero that's been there for a while, but I mean, with the Blade Mail nerf and the lifesteal from the spells nerf, she kind of faded out for a while till they brought her back in with a new Veil build.
Yeah, and then you've also got that novelty level 25 talent where you shadow strike everything in the AoE, man.
I don't think anyone takes that skill.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But always a cheeky bit of a cheeky spell to have if you're trying to, tilt your opponents at the end of the game. But Lina is going to be the pick coming out from o2esports, one of the better heroes to deal with the co-op at mid. That excessive range on the Lina with the ability to push out the creep waves consistently makes her a real force to be reckoned with. And at this point, Lina's, as long as she watches her positioning carefully, she should not be picked off. And I mean, she should always be aware of a clockwork coming in from behind for those ganks. Should be a really hard kill.
Yeah, I mean, the ganking potential coming out from Moto is really, really high. With the Rubik setup, they can almost guarantee a Lina stun, or they can even guarantee a Pudge hook. So the rotations coming out from within these 3 heroes will be really interesting to watch.
You've got an LC ban coming out as the final ban from Execration while Bat Rider gets removed from O2 Esports. Both teams looking for an offlaner at the moment. What does O2 go for here? Their options include a Timbersaw if they want to fall back on it, and a Baron if they're going to bring him back. Yeah, I do like the Baron here. I think the ability to wait, what the holy hell just happened?
Support Morphling?
Or is that an offlane Pudge?
Yeah, so support Morphling then. Or support Lina then.
Yeah, support... No, I can't for the life of me figure out what's going on here.
I don't think anyone... maybe the Razor goes mid, because Morphling can't mid against Queen of Pain. That's not a likely scenario. Maybe Razor mid against Queen of Pain, Lina support, Morphling carry, Rubik support and Pudge offlane.
That could work. But that offlane is going to be Lifestealer, Oracle and Clockwork versus a Pudge. I don't see how the Pudge survives there. And
yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's not like you can go into...
Maybe they have some shenanigans they want to try with that.
Yeah, there's probably going to be those shenanigans where the Pudge hooks a creep into the lane and then...
Yeah. Nonsense like that.
Anyway, what's the last pick coming out from Execration here? They're looking for their own offlaner.
I think something which has a little bit of initiation is good for them. Just relying on the Clockwork will mean that if your hook shot misses, you really have no way of going into these fights.
Alternatively, they could run this as an offlane Clockwork and then just pick up something like the Silencer to deal with that morph, assuming it is a core morph. One of the best ways to deal with the morphling is... What are you doing, man? Stop trashing your house.
Tinker.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on here?
What is this draft coming? Tinker and Queen of Pain.
So what? Offlane Queen of Pain now?
I think we're just gonna have to wait and watch. This is too much to predict. Like both the lineups have really weirded me out here.
I can't for the life of me figure out who's going where, but yeah, if
I mean,
I
it
had
has to
to,
be Tinker in the mid lane. I don't see Tinker in any other lane other than the mid.
I mean, safe lane Tinker is a thing, or it was a thing a couple of times.
Oh man. Suddenly when Dendi plays it and it's never turned out well.
I don't know about that, man. I do remember a few successful safe lane Tinkers with 4-minute BOTs, but yeah, this if it is going to be a mid Tinker, then yeah, we're looking at an off lane Quap or possibly even an aggressive tri lane with the Life Stealer, Clockwork, and the Oracle. While O2 esports, we should be seeing a core Morphling here. But is NJ their support or is he their core?
I feel like NJ is a support because in the I know NJ is the captain, and in the SCA scene generally they keep the. I mean, it's the norm has been for the support player to be the IGL in the game, so I'm assuming that he is. But we've had exceptions. There has been Mushi, of course.
Alright, we're going to be jumping right in here, folks. To start things off, we're going to open up with the introductions. On the side of Execration, you've got Raging Pareto handling the Queen of Pain. Lifestealer is going to be played by Nando. Clockwork's going to be in the hands of Lumic. You've got James playing that Tinker, which puts Oracle in the hands of a name that we don't know, possibly RR.
That's supposed to be RR. And it's an offlane Morphling by the looks of things. Yeah, he's gone with the Mango. Yeah, it looks to be an offlane Morphling. So Midas Scepter, generally that seems like a good build to me. But
Alright, on the other side, like you said, NJ on that offlane Morphling. We're looking at Razor handled by MyPro. Pudge is going to be in the hands of Ling. Lina's going to be played by Yamate, and that puts Kudasai or AU, I believe, on the Rubik.
yeah, should be. But didn't we discuss that AU plays a lot of Pudge?
Yeah, I'm not sure why that changed. I'm just going to
Which one is Yamate? MyPro is Yamate.
drop my settings a bit. I've actually got a little bit of FPS failure happening here.
Oh, Yamate is already here. My bad.
Yeah, that's better.
I had a brain fart moment. Thankfully, you were not there to witness it.
I was here, I heard it, I just chose to ignore it, man.
Okay.
The battle begins.
So sweet.
So, Raging Potatoes on that bottom lane. What is this off-lane Morphling? I don't think I've seen this before.
I've seen it. It's been run by ISSIs before. It's been a very cheesy pick where you try and farm with a replicate. But do
But
they even have a...
Assuming he hits
replicate?
level 6, man. This is such a... It's gonna be a
I
difficult
think you
game
can get
for
two
him.
hooks, right? With the if you can get the Aghanim Scepter and the Midas. I mean the Midas and the Aghanim Scepter. We have seen it happen though.
That's... I mean, I hope that's not the game plan here, because
I mean,
that
it's
sounds
been
suicidal.
Taisu's run it, so it doesn't say a lot. But I think the aggressive tri-lane idea from your side was a really good one. Not sure why they didn't run it.
Ouch.
I think that's a bit of a
SI.
mistake from
It's gonna eat a whole battery assault here. Forced to use the telekinesis to throw Lumic a little further behind. But to start things off, it's a fairly peaceful starting for both sides. It's Execration with a very minor net worth lead going in their favor. Top lane is essentially a 2 versus 2 scenario with... I think if the Clockwork rotates in here, they should be able to score a kill on the Pudge. But for now, scoring kills on the Morphling is next to impossible. All he's got to do is waveform and run if he gets cogged in.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this Morphling build is really slow though. He's not gonna have too much farm. If they manage the creep equilibrium, he shouldn't be able to even approach the wave technically. But the Oracle is a little bit busy with the farming and stacking. And already the Pudge has rotated in on the Lifestealer.
I mean, he's been here for a while, but he can't do anything up until he gets level 2. But Lifestealer doesn't have rage. They're probably unsure of this right now, so they're not making a
They
play.
don't know that.
As for Lumic on the Clockwork, just hanging around, making sure that the camps stay blocked. preventing the pulls happening on this bottom lane, allowing that Queen of Pain to keep farming in the face of the Razor and the Rubik.
Why does the Razor have 3 creeps in 2 minutes? That seems a little bit odd to me. And it's not like the Queen of Pain has denied that many.
He's being a pest though.
He's just missing all his right clicks.
It is fairly annoying to play Razor. His last hit animation is terrible, but yeah, it should not be this bad. He's got just 5 CS in 2 minutes on the safe lane.
And I think Clockwork and Queen of Pain are putting a decent amount of pressure on Rubik as well. Just the Shadow Strike Harris and him chasing him down with things like the Cog has been putting a lot of pressure on this Rubik here. While Oracle is at a much better time, I would say. Has he made any stacks up? But no, he dewatered the camp. And now he's trying to pull.
Yeah, he should get the pull off successfully. No, okay, he got the stack as well, so that creep wave is definitely getting denied over there. Ling is almost at level 2, which is when he starts to be a real threat for this Tinker. He's hanging around in the middle lane.
James is hanging around in the mid lane, really low. He's slightly a little short from his bottle, so this might be a risky play that doesn't work out for him, I think.
Yeah, he's just playing it safe though. He's just gonna hang back and wait. That courier has been heading up top as well, so he couldn't call a salve out if he wanted it. Meanwhile, at bottom, Lumik trying to pull out the creep wave, but Kudasai was there to stop that pull. But he could be punished with it. He's got the cogs coming out. There's a bit of damage being stolen by my pro, but look at the damage that's already been done. He walked into the cogs twice. What the heck was that? Because of that, he's probably going to end up dying. Raging Potato, he blinks into a compromising slot and now gets hooked further to the tower on the back of Link's rotation. Raging Potato will end up going down here. He's getting chased down by the rot and has another 4 seconds till he can blink out. Pops the stick charges, tries to juke, but doesn't get too far. Ling will score first blood, and really, I think O2 esports was just blessed over there. My pro walked into the cogs twice and deserved to die.
Definitely. I mean, Queen of Pain tried her level best. She played it absolutely perfectly, even blinked in at the right spot, but just got juked at the last right click. So, yeah, sure, she dies, but that's pretty impressive stuff from her. Honestly, they've actually put a decent amount of pressure on the Razor, so it's okay even if she dies.
Well, for now, Ling is gonna stay bottom for a little longer, just hoping to get some EXP to get another point in that rot. He's got his boots online as well, so running down the Quap may be a possibility, but as I say that, I look at her and she's got her own boots as well. For now though, it is the Lifestealer that's been having a ball of a time here. He's at 33 CS versus just the 8 on NJ.
I still think that Lina can seize the momentum here at any given time. And then Execration, they'll have to play a little bit carefully. The Tinker can't be that safe and Lina picks up the Shadow Blade.
Kurasai in trouble here, gonna get hit with the false promise. Oh sorry, the Fortune's End. That should hold him in position. James throws him back. The LSA misses on the Clockwork, and with that they'll get the kill on Kurasai. Well,
Nice bit of LSA dodge by James on the Tinker. Just moving back the quick step back, preventing the light strike from landing on it.
And lo and behold, they've got the shrine available as well, so no base strip required for Lumik.
And just efficient plays coming out from them have pushed the network lead over a K. Sure, it's not a lot, but at 6 minutes in, with the score being 1-1, I think it's pretty decent.
Ling is trying to line up the hook here on this middle lane, but James is just going to move top and pick up a regen rune for himself. He's still not level 6 and may not even put that level 6 point into the rearm though.
So Lifesteal is queuing up a Midas. Do you think this is the right choice? I think a quick armlet is pretty good. You come online with the Queen of Pain.
I can agree with the Midas because Lifesteal is one of those heroes that for the first few levels does just a bit more damage as he levels up. So Feast is based on a percentage of max HP. The more levels you get in it, the more damage you do.
Hook in the mid lane, James, he's been caught. Yeah.
Rip. Meanwhile, top lane, like I was saying, Nando, he's still just busy pulling out NJ with simply the phase boots. Oh, he used up his mana. This could be bad for NJ. He might just go down here. Did have the Soul Ring available though, so the regen kicked in and he did get a waveform.
Did he just infest in and infest out, hoping to get the kill?
Yeah, I think he was trying to do that pure
I think that
magic
was-
damage to other.
I mean, he'd already waveformed out, so not really sure what he was trying. And Shrine available for the Morphling, so back in lane while the Lifestealer not really fully equipped to take another fight.
Yeah, but he shouldn't really die. He's got the rage available, even if they jump him. Meanwhile, at bottom, Kudasai is in trouble. Queen jumps forward, screams and gets the kill. Now MyPro has enough time to steal damage from Raging Potato. Needs to get the hits in. Blink is not available for 9 seconds, and he will pay for that with his life. That's the trade in favor of o2esports. They end up getting the kill on the Quap while giving up their own Rubik. Back at mid though, you've got Lumic now coming in. Ling is okay.
I still find it hard that Execration will have to take these mid-game fights without a real initiator. I mean, if the
NJ.
hook misses, they're actually down.
He's in trouble here. He's been hit with the Fortune's End and doesn't have a waveform to get out of this now. He should be going down here. It ought to be Nando that gets the kill. Never mind that. Purifying Flames will seal the deal. While bottom, it looks like Ling scores a kill on Lumic. In the
How
overall
far are we
scheme of
going?
things, I still think that works out for Execration. Scoring a kill on the core Morphling is a lot more important than losing your Clockwork.
Yeah, and as long as the Tinker is farming, there are a decent amount of stacks for him as well. I think he stacked them himself. He should be hitting a decent BOT mark. And it's not like they have really great wave clear side of o2esports. Dina is great, but Razor, Pudge, Rubik, not so much.
Yamate. Looks like he is building in towards a 4-staff as his first item, his defensive item of choice up against that Clockwork. While Raging Potato, we are looking at a Veil of Discord coming out from him. It's a fairly slow start for a Queen of Pain, given that she was in the off lane and not in the mid. But they're going to try and change that Execration with smokes coming in. Moving towards the bottom lane.
I also think that when you're playing an off lane Queen of Pain, when you don't have a bottle, it changes you have to change the way you play. You can't play the same, even if you go for the same item build.
Oh, Yamate. Caught between a rock and a hard place here. Cogged up. Hit with the Fortune's End, hit with the laser and the rocket. He stays alive for now, pops his wand charges and does have the infused raindrops, but all for naught as he does end up going down.
Great gank from and James has picked up his BOT before Lina really has any items, so next time when the Clockwork reaches the... Oh, Clockwork is actually really far. Unfortunate. I thought with the Clockwork and take that it would be an easy kill. Not
Clock
the case.
is hoping to get some stacks going in the jungle, but
I mean, he has a Tomb of Knowledge, but again, as we discovered yesterday, there's a bug with the timer. I can't really see it.
bottom lane MyPro unable to steal any damage from the Quap here. She's just the perfect way to deal with a safe lane Razor. But they're going to return the favor with a smoke of their own o2esports, with Yamate and Kudasai leading the charge. They need to start off with the lift if they want to score a kill successfully. But Lumic, they don't want to find Lumic again. They want to kill on Raging Potato. But they're going to go up to the shrine again where they have that ward. Raging Potato, his movements are being pinged out. This is 4 heroes moving towards the bottom lane. They will find Lumic and they will blow him up. Laguna Blade still not being committed. Now he finally commits it. But that's not the ideal target on the back of a smoke rotation. It's something, but
Yeah, definitely not.
you'd rather not. You'd rather get the kill on the Queen of Pain or any of the cores on the side of Execration.
And right now, the he has his Midas Panic.
They got the hook off, and James is going to die for that. So now it works out for them. They got a core as well as the support.
Yeah, this is the Tinker who just wants to farm his Soul Ring and Blink. But going in too deep for no reason. He still has stacks, I believe, in the jungle. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see why he's not farming those.
I guess it's maybe it's because his march isn't maxed out just yet, but he didn't quite go in deep there. He actually got hooked from the lane on the back of an observer ward that was placed down, and they know that the observer was there now. They've dewarded it. It is infest bomb time. Lifestealer is sitting inside the Queen of Pain's belly, and they're looking to score a kill on MyPro, but MyPro has his spidey senses tingling as he backs out.
Yeah, and on the other side, there is a smoke rotation coming in from the Pudge. He's been pretty decent with the hooks, and they haven't really spotted him yet.
Ooh.
Oh! Goes between the two.
Actually
Slightly
went under his skirt or whatever that thing is behind there.
Cloak? Is it a cloak?
Cloak? It's like a scroll.
Dyer's top
This
tower
this
is
thing
under
is ignoring the laws of physics. Look how it's always rolled up towards the end.
Yeah, because that's the most unbelievable thing about the world here.
is under attack.
NJ
Sure.
Dyer's middle tower
has a
is under
TP though. He can bail from this. But we'll have to pan our attention elsewhere because you've got the Queen of Pain that's been caught up. The hook doesn't find the mark. Raging Potato's fine for now, while NJ is going to TP out to safety. They do stem the bleeding on the side of O2 esports.
Dyer's structures are
Yeah, but all this while Yamate has been beating down on the mid tower, and I think finally he will be able to get it. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, maybe not. He's going to pay for this with his life. It even gets denied by the Oracle. That's just salt into his wounds.
Just being that, just waiting that extra second to be greedy, waiting out that fortification, gets ganked by the clock as soon as he reaches there.
It's kind
That
of...
has got to hurt.
It is actually quite unbelievable that Oracle got that deny considering the piss poor base damage this hero has.
Yeah.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Pink was about to go down for a second time, but Pudge off the mark on that hook there. How's NJ looking on the offlane? He's picked up a soul ring. He has tranquil. Yeah, this seems to be the build which I said I used to go. Oh, he's going for Yules next. Is that for the clock form? Or maybe it's to cancel the TP. I mean, he has stun to work with, so.
Looking back at bottom though,
So-
MyPro, he's almost got his Dragonlance online. So that's a fair bit of damage and HP coming out for him. And it also gives them a tool to try and start taking down towers as a unit. Nando on the top lane though, with his Midas online, he still dishes out a fair bit of damage, and his armlet isn't too far off either. There's 3 heroes here on the side of O2 esports. There's a second hero coming in for Execration, NJ, with the stun to start things off. While bottom lane they've actually gone on Lumic. Lumic's gonna be the one to go down there. MyPro gets the kill, while top lane Nando by himself is enough to zone out the Morphling. There's the stun to start things off. They have the lift, they get it off as well, but then they've disarmed him and thrown the Fate's Edict, making him immune to magic damage. He walks forward, the Fortune's End catches 2 Raging Potatoes in the fray, fires off with the Sonic Wave, gets the kill on Yamate. While NJ is going to be forcing himself out of here. Doesn't have another waveform, but does have a soul ring. Turns around with the adaptive strike. MyPro steals away Nando's damage. James with the rockets will end up getting the kill on NJ behind. While he's still going to work on MyPro. Nando's giving chase, but doesn't have any damage to work with. It's going to have to be Raging Potato that scores this kill, while Nando just applies the slows. And indeed, it will be the case with MyPro going down. Nando might go down with him, but he survives. Execration with a clear victory in that skirmish, getting 3 kills and possibly even a tier 1 tower now.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why the Razor TP'd in so late. I think an earlier rotation from him might have been, could have resulted in some kills for their side, but he's slightly late on that TP there, I feel.
Dyer's bottom tower.
Well, that puts Execration in
And
the
that is
driver's seat again now, and with that, you've also got the full armlet finished up on Nando.
Armlet, and he's gunning for an SNY's full mid-game items coming out from the Lifestealer here.
Yeah.
And with the co-ops Veil of Discord, I think they'll have a lot of firepower in the mid-game.
I like the SNY here. I mean, it is the ideal choice
Yeah.
for the Lifestealer because you're playing up against a Razor. You want to stay the hell away from his static link. Yamate.
Tinker, he died a few times, he's still away a few hundred gold, just about 100 gold away from his Blink Dagger, but I think once that comes online as well, the game is going to get a little hard. I mean, Pudge had a decent early game, I would say, but he's not managed to do anything in the last 4 or 5
Well, I think it's gonna boil down to whether or not they can use the Pudge as a deterrent to that Tinker, right? Because that last pick Tinker kind of threw them off guard. They don't really have any sort of... you don't have a Storm, you don't have a Clockwork, you don't have a Night Stalker with the Flying Vision. You're gonna have to rely on things like Blind Hooks to actually pick him out of the trees. And again, it boils down to the fact that this Blink Dagger on James, it's such a valuable item this game. Because there's no way to counter it.
Tower is under attack.
Maybe use the Razor Plasma Field to get some vision in the trees, but that essentially means that the Razor is going to have to put himself at risk walking forward. Anyway, mid, you've got a smoke.
I mean, it's
3
very
of them
cheesy though.
moving towards Raging Potato. He's got the Arcane Rune, but the stolen Blink from Kudasai secures the kill here. No expenses spared, along with the Dismember committed as well. That's a
Fair
good
enough.
pick off
I
though.
mean, this December doesn't really have a long cooldown. So.
Dire's middle tower is under
That's the
attack.
kind of pick
But
off you
still
want to
no
get
co-
with your Smoke of Deceit.
Uh-huh. And still no co-op ulti in this game. I mean, she's had that Sonic Wave for a while, but
Dire's top tower
she's already reached the second level and she's not really used it. I mean, she used it once.
NJ hoping to find someone on the retreat here. Nando doesn't have the rage, but NJ is not willing to wave form in there for fear of who's standing behind. Meanwhile on top, Razor continues to push out. Is he trying to be the bait here? Ling looking for the hook, but yeah, Raging Potato just careful about blinking out in time. So the full armlet is done on Nando. Desolator isn't too far off either. He's actually switched gears, by the way, so he's going Deso instead of the S and Y. Not too worried about losing his damage apparently.
I would have actually liked to see the SMI come out this game. It made sense to me.
It does. I mean, I can't really disagree with the Desolator as well, because there's so many ways to jump into the fight, right? With the Queen of Pain and the Clockwork in
I mean,
Fest
you gotta pick a
bombs.
side, right? But
Uh-oh, Nando, Invis here, right next to Yamate. He does have a 4-staff, so they're gonna need more backup for sure. They need to connect with this Clockwork's hook shot, but how long can they tailgate him? Now the Yamate's positioning has been given away like this. They're gonna go in anyway. Nando forces out the 4-staff. James blinks in on the front lines and they snipe him under the tier 1 tower, which they will now take.
yeah, Night Stalker just tailgating him till the very, very end there. And
You called him Night Stalker, bro. He's Life Stealer.
sorry, life stealer, my bad.
That identity crisis. Anyway, there's the hook. The false promise, keeping Raging Potato alive. He's healing him up as well along the way. The Sonic Wave clips onto 2. They'll get both those skills with the Pudge and the Razor going down. While you have NJ actually waveforming down to the low ground. He hasn't gotten far enough out and will end up being brought down with James blinking in at the last moment. Execration with another devastating blow, setting the score at 14-8 in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a very gimmicky draft coming out from o2esports. They have a 4-position Pudge, they have an offlane Muffling. It's not very standard and they're being punished for that.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
James continuously pushing out the top lane now, just applying as much pressure as he possibly can, while my pro has himself a Dragonlance along with the Staff of Wizardry picked up. His freaking Hurricane Pike is not going to add as much value as he would like in this game, given the amount of burst damage coming out on the side of Execration.
Yeah, I mean, Hurricane Pike, I mean, they're not even going on the Razor in the beginning. They just bring down the Pudge, they bring down the Rubik. And all the while, Lina's been zoned out on the backlines by the Clockwork. Yet to see Queen of Pain come in with a big ultimate.
We just did. She literally just got a 2-hero Sonic
I don't
Wave
think
there.
that was the one we want to.
I mean, if you're looking for a 5-man Sonic Wave, that's... I think you're giving Raging Potato a lot less credit than he's due.
Fair enough.
What's worrisome though is that Yamate hasn't really progressed in terms of items. He's heading for the
He's gonna pick
Bloodstone,
up this
but...
Bloodstone.
Sorry,
No, he's picking up the
Bloodstone, my bad,
Bloodstone.
yeah. But it's still so far away, it's gonna take a while before he actually gets it online, and even with the
I feel this
Bloodstone...
is a game where he dies a fair amount of times. Even if he does well, I feel it's a game where he dies. So I don't know if Bloodstone is the best I can get here. Would rather have seen a Shadow Blade coming out.
We've got a blink on NJ, by the way, so they have a fair bit of initiation coming out, and assuming that he does stay in strength morph, he's also going to be fairly tanky going into these fights. And there goes Raging Potato with a Lifestealer in his belly, and that's where the Desolator really shines, man. You jump in, you blow up the Razor before he can actually seal any damage, and you don't need to kite around them anymore.
Yeah, that was a really, really quick kill coming out from Execration there. No chance. And they were using the Razor as bait as well, because I did spot around 3 heroes around, I mean, in the fog around them.
So what they were essentially trying is with this Tinker ward and Morphling standing around there, they were hoping that Tinker comes in to try and counter push. Turns out Queen of Pain comes in with a Lifestealer instead.
I think it's too early in the game to start putting out Tinker wards. If you're so scared of him at this
Dire's
point,
middle tower is under attack.
I mean, just imagine when he comes with a little bit of damage. I believe he's going with the Dagon or the maybe it's Attal and Sacrifice.
Yeah, he's already got the
That's
Athalans, so Maybe an Aghanim Scepter up next.
Yeah.
Well,
And like we
DD now
mentioned,
picked up as well on Nando, so they're just gonna head straight into the pit and get themselves an Aegis. It's gonna be a really quick rush, and there's nothing that O2 esports can really do to contest it.
Yeah, and I think Execration are at a point where they feel comfortable to take these fights, so I don't see why they should feel shy about going up to this tower. So he's gonna go back for the SNY, it looks like, after the Desolator.
Yeah, sure, fair enough. I mean, he's got the damage now. You might as well get the mobility.
I think it's just better to run a straight assault at this point. There's a
I
lot
mean,
of value to this game.
I don't think he needs that much more damage anyway. They're just blowing up heroes the moment he lays his claws into him. There's no real way for any of the heroes that are caught out by that Queen of Pain blinking to get out of there. You got the 4 stuff on my pro, but it's probably going to be backed up with... I mean, the Queen's jump is probably going to be backed up with a hook shot anyway. And within this, the hook shot stun duration with a simple Desolator and an armlet, that's enough to blow up anyone. There we go. They jump in, they start going to work. Tinker joins the fray, and my pro is down. Ling is going to follow him to the grave as well. Just insane amounts of burst damage coming out from this duo.
So correct me if I'm wrong, there's one more BO1 before we head into BO3. Semi-finals of BO3s, right?
Yeah. At least that's how the format used to be. I'm gonna get a tier 2 at top with Nando beating up on it. Maybe even the tier 2 at mid with James pushing in through the lane. They did end up pushing out the bottom lane a little bit. I mean, they're doing some chip damage on the raid on the Dire tier 2, but I don't think Execration cares about it at this point.
Yeah, I just quickly all tap to check if any of the other matches are over. Doesn't look like it. So we're still awaiting first victor from the round 16. Clockwork looks slightly underfarmed. Oops. He has 4 stuff in his inventory. My bad.
Yeah, no one's underfarmed right now. They have a good 15,000 net worth and EXP lead going in their favor. Or 13,000 net worth going in their favor. But O2 are just backed into a corner here. They're grouping up like they want to smoke. They did smoke inside their own base now. Hoping for the Tinker to come so far out and push out this top lane. But this is not happening.
I honestly feel that O2 have put themselves in this position with this draft here. I mean, look at the Morphling. He's picked up a blink, but they're picking off heroes so fast that he can't really jump in, and with the maxed out March of machines, there's no real scope for the Morphling to get multiple stuns off him.
James is trying to dodge a bullet here. He's actually blinked further back towards Yamate and Co. He will TP out, and the smokes will also break. Doesn't get any more annoying than this for O2 esports. You know, I'll have a look at Raging Potato. He's fishing. Blinks out there. My pro is still there. I think he saw him. They did ping this out.
Yeah. Razor is really underfarmed at this point, just as a Hurricane Pike to work with. And this is the problem with heroes like the Razor and the Viper. I mean, Razor is still better than the Viper, but pretty slow farmer by other carry standards.
O2 trying to push out the top lane as much as they can before the push comes in on their own tower. They've still got the Aegis in tow on Nando, so he's gonna be fairly hard to bring down once, let alone twice.
And one thing I'll say about this draft coming in from Execration is that they've picked up a Lifestealer when no one else is picking up Lifestealers other than EG anymore. And
oh, they caught James! He TP'd in, Ling was waiting with the hook at the ready, and they will blow up the Tinker this time around. That's a good 696 gold going in favor of Yamate. However, NJ, he's got to get himself out of here now. He has 4 stuff, or rather, he has waveformed into the trees. Gets brought down by Nando anyway. While Lina's been caught out behind. They need some sort of lockdown on her. They don't have enough damage to bring her down. That's actually not too shabby coming out from O2 esports. Getting the kill on the Tinker and preventing an Aegis push from coming onto your higher ground, it really gives them a fresh breath of life now.
I also think it was still okay for Execration. They got a kill on an offlaner, picked up the bottom tower as well, and they defended their own. So I think it's pretty okay. And the Tinker has his Aghanim Scepter now. So
He had it in the last
sieging will be
fight
that
as
much.
well, so.
He did?
None is
No, we last we spoke of the Tinker was when he had that hit.
No, he picked it up a little while after that and decided to TP up top.
Okay, so when they do go high ground, the sieging ability is very, very respectable here.
Well, there goes the Aegis for Nando. He's probably going to go for the assault next. He does have it queued up in his inventory. Any smokes available? Looks like Lumic does have one. So they could still make a play without that Aegis and then try and break some buildings.
Yes, the supports here are really, really poor coming out from o2esports. Like the Rubik has really no items whatsoever. He's queued up for stuff, but
The Pudge
It's
seems
been
to
a
be
really
doing
hard
alright though. He's got his own 4 staff already online with an urn as well as the basic Tramco boots. But bottom, they've given Razor's Illusion hell.
I mean they have the right idea with the 4 stars that they can kite the life stealer, but the kills have been coming in so quickly from Execration that practically it's not really worked out like that.
Yeah, it's still going to be Tinker that's the real force to be reckoned with in this game. In those team fights
And
with the Tinker just standing behind, firing off rockets and lasers one after the other, you really have to find some way to jump past the enemy lines and shut him down. If the Morphling jumps past and gets the stun, all he's really going to do is stop him for a little while, but he doesn't have enough firepower to score the kill himself, and there's no real way for anyone else to get close.
Yeah, and I feel like, I mean, this is a trait we see in SEA teams, which is they find comfort in farming, that they've been really conservative with their movement of the co-op and the infest. So, I mean, if they used it a little bit more, because it was off cooldown for a long, long time, I think they could have achieved some greater results here.
Dire's
Raging
top
Potato.
tower has fallen.
Looking for a pick off in the jungle, but will find nothing as everyone on the side of O2 is at the bottom lane. There's Illusions and Morphling sitting up top. Well, another Illusions is going to be hanging around in the jungle. It will be used to bait out Raging Potato's blink forward, and again, Execration, they've given up their positions while having to contest with a lane of creeps pushing into their tier 3s on the top lane. O2 are doing a good job of buying time here. They're just dodging the bullets that Execration are firing and staying in this game for as long as they possibly can till they can make a slightly successful high ground defense. Yamati meanwhile forced to use the Shadow Blade, just barely sidesteps the hook shot, but is still being chased here. They've got the duels to send him up into the air. They've got the Lifestealer coming out, the silence as well. Instant suicide is on the menu for him.
And no 2 players coming in to save their buddy there. I thought they could really kind of go in on
I
that.
think that was the right call because you don't want to fight 5v5 on the low ground.
You could have tried a hook at least. I didn't even see Pudge angling in for one.
Well, Pudge hoping to get Lifestealer behind enemy lines there with that hook.
Radiant's middle tower has
But
fallen.
again, this
I
is
think
where
with
the
Pudge on
clockwork... The clockwork really adds value, right? With the rocket flares constantly spotting out the Pudge's
Definitely.
positioning.
I mean, it's not been a bad game for the Oracle at all as well. He has a mech and arcane boost running. So.
We've got this.
Gem already online on Raging Potato, and they've queued up an infest bomb again.
We've also got this trifecta of wards towards the middle and top lanes. So they're watching every movement in and around the secret shop while they try to siege mid and top, but bottom meanwhile is being pushed out. NJ doing what Morphling does best, split pushing to the best of his abilities, even though he doesn't really have a split push oriented build on himself.
Yeah, but I mean, this is not really working against a team which has Tinker.
They're buying time. That's what they need to do right now. Just keep buying time till they can get some more items
honestly,
online.
I think that Execution don't really want to push up against a Pudge without the Aegis. Once they have the Aegis, they should complete up the assault by then as well. And it's just going to be the Lifestealer who goes up on the racks and on the tower and the racks and hits them.
Worthy tribute.
I mean, you can steal damage from him once maybe, but it's still not going to be enough. And they have a 4-star as well.
Ooh, they might just find someone here. They've got the hook shot. No, they don't. They're going to blink forward. Raging Potato still unable to lock down a target. Those 4 staffs, allowing O2 to kite around the battlefield. I feel like O2 are actually holding on here. It isn't as much of a domination as it was from Execration just a few minutes ago. They dodged a lot of ganks in the downtime that the Roshan was respawning, and they might even find one of their own. Tinker caught out. Can they cancel his blink tag? Or bit by bit they're hitting him. Here comes Yamate. Does have the LSA. Oh, he misses!
Wow. Wow moment. A real wow moment. That was off by a fraction of inches. Fraction second, my bad.
Well,
And then we
Mando,
spotted out as well.
he's having a hard time versus Roshan himself. He can't quite take him down by himself here. Feast does not work versus Roshan, so he has to rely on the open wounds to keep himself healthy through this.
And I mean, last time he had a DD, so it was slightly easier.
But hey, they get the Aegis anyway, and O2 are now going to have to deal with a high ground push with a life
Where
stealer
is
with
the
2
assault,
lives. He chose to go for the SNY.
No, I mean, he queued it up after the SNY.
Yeah, he's queued it up again now.
He's shifting between a Link and an assault, so I'm really confused.
I don't think a Lincoln is terrible actually. It does add value versus...
He picked up the chainmail and the rest.
But then again, there's just so many
Decision.
single target spells to cancel the Lincoln, so...
Yeah. I mean, if he can cancel the static link and get 5 more right clicks on the tower, I think that's more than enough. It warrants enough attention, I feel.
What is O2
But then Assault is
really
gonna
got up
really-
their sleeves here? How are they gonna... How the hell do they plan to defend this? Because the way I see it, Queen of Pain just has to take the parcel along with her and jump the life sealer. The moment they lock down the life sealer and bring him down, it's over. Unless we see like 3-4 staffs on him, on the Razor, sorry. 3-4 staffs on the Razor to get out of there. And then they kite around the life sealer. That could work. But then you've got to worry about a Tinker who's just going to constantly be bombarding you with marches and rockets.
He's very deep into the enemy side.
NJ.
Morphling is stalking him, but no. He didn't really cancel that TP though.
He would have died
He was
if
a
he
little
tried.
scared of the back. He had a Yules and he has. Probably wouldn't have died, but he wouldn't have got the kill either. So Blink Yules 4 stuff. Pure mobility morphling.
Razor has picked up a BKB though, so he does have some sort of defense. Meanwhile, they're going for the life stealer. They pull him further back away from the creeps. They will bring him down once, so the Aegis is out of question here for Execration. Telling you, man, O2 are doing it. I'm getting this vibe that they're actually going to hold the high ground once successfully, and then they're going to come online in a jiffy. Execration are spooked as well.
Yeah, that was some weird bit of play coming from the life stealer. Farming so ahead in the lane while his team was not there to help him out. Gives away a free Aegis to the other side. Who has the cheese though? What's the second one? You know, Pain doesn't have it.
It's Nando, he's holding on to it.
And
He wants to infest into the co-op apparently.
yeah.
But they're wasting no more time. Looks like they are grouping up for this push on the bottom lane with top already pushed out. Nando, all he's really got to do is rage, get a few hits off, and back away. Rinse and repeat.
The same thing would have been much better with the Aegis at hand.
Exactly.
But they don't have it because of a mistake, and I think it's slightly risky to do this now.
Ooh, he almost got the Tinker there with that hook. That would have been devastating. The stun comes out on Nando. The follow-up stuns are there as well. They're blowing him up, but they've got the false promise to keep him alive. Execration having a hard time pushing high ground here.
Yeah, this is not easy without the Aegis, I feel. Sure, he has an assault, but I mean, O2 aren't really committing that heavily. They're just beating him down with the right clicks. They aren't committing the Lina ultimate or something like that, where Lifestealer can insta-pop his cheese and get back into the fight. So
They're still going forward. They really do want to get this tower right now by the looks of it. Raging Potato comes back after just applying a little bit of momentum towards the middle lane, but they can't push just yet. Tinker's headed himself up top.
I think at this point, maybe Leomic has to go in a little aggressively onto one of the cores behind. But the problem is he doesn't have the gem. He has a dust, but it's still really hard to find the Lina in this.
You've almost got a BKB finished up on the Lina as well, so they're definitely getting the needed tools to deal with James and his Tinker. And they've already got the 4 stars to deal with Life Stealer. It's probably that point in the game where he looks for an Abyssal Blade of his own as opposed to that Lincoln Sphere. They already have 1 Lincoln's on Raging Potato though. They've been throwing it out on Nando every now and then when he goes high ground. And here we go again. Oh, he almost got pulled into the trees there. That could have been devastating for them. Rockets, lasers, March of the Machines all being spammed out here. The lift is there, but the false promise is there as well, along with the Yules. The Squap will stay back. Perhaps they wait another 60 seconds to get the false promise online before pushing up again. But they've done a fair bit of damage on the tower.
It's been slow, but it's been methodical coming out from Execration. And they have a decent gold lead to work with as well. They don't want to give anything away here.
Nando again going in. The creeps just barely spawning as Nando was about to get hooked there, but he's now losing damage. There's the stuns coming out. Queen of Pain stunned up again. Gets the disarm along with the Fate Seed Icona. She does survive. Sends herself up into the air. Nando pops out of his belly. Throws down the Sonic Wave. A stolen rage from Kudasai. He's still going to go down while the gem has been dropped inside the base. Raging Potato is on a killing spree, but his killing spree was ended while Nando consumes the cheese and starts to make a run for it while Lumic has the cogs to block off this chase. NJ is going to be cogged in, but Waveform's immediately out while the Plasma Field is there as well. You've got a buyback coming out from the Rubik. He's TP'd out to the shrine and is coming in from behind. There's the blink out from James, and Kudasai is not going to be able to catch him just yet. He TP's out in the nick of time as Lumic gets left for dead here. Stunned up by NJ and followed up by the rest of the O2 cavalry. Yamate getting himself another Bloodstone charge. In my books, that counts as a successful high ground defense despite them losing that tier 3 tower.
Yeah, it definitely does. They lose a shrine for it, but I think at this point, they'll take this. I mean, I don't know what to say. The Life Stealer without the Aegis has been really hard for him. And the co-op gets jumped on and can't really pop her spells really effectively. She threw out a Sonic Wave, but it was very, very pathetic. So...
with that...
They don't have any defensive supports as well. I mean,
Yamate...
with the Oracle's ultimate being down, they can't really do anything.
So Yamate is going for the Aghanim Scepter, by the way. That's the tool that they need to blow through that Life Stealer. Even if he has that magic immunity.
I think Heart would have been a decent choice for Life Stealer. For the slow sieging type of play that they're trying to do.
Maybe a Lincoln's is actually not bad if you're trying to siege, but the problem is he's getting kited now, so in that case an Abyssal Blade might have helped, but again, Abyssal isn't as effective versus multiple 4-staffs on the side of O2. What else are O2 getting? Are they still looking for mobility? They've already got 3 4-staffs and a Hurricane Pike. They've got Shadow Blades, Yules, Blink Daggers, BKBs. MyPro is now just stacking up some armor for himself with the Shivers Guard coming out next. It's really appalling that o2 esports are holding on to their high ground despite being 20k net worth behind.
Absolutely.
I say it's impressive.
And it's off. More fuel for my fire.
Mate probably doesn't want to go and finish up that Silver Edge this game. No real passives to be disabled here. But the break isn't bad versus the Life Stealer.
So Tinker has picked up the Bloodstone. Did he go for it before the Hex? Because I've not seen the debut of the Hex yet. And there are no charges on the Bloodstone.
I'm not too sure either. I didn't quite catch that.
So he's just farmed up these 2 items without participating in fights. That's probably what has sealed the fate. I mean, he was on the top lane when they jumped in on the pop. And 5 seconds, it's a 5-second stun, right, with the adaptive strike. 4.2 white. Wait, that's a pretty decent amount on the co-op, especially when she's thrown a Lincolns onto the Life Stealer there.
Yeah, there's also the fact that the adaptive strike has a fairly low cooldown as well, so
yeah,
it's one of the better ways to trigger those Lincolns.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to start needing items like the Lotus Orb on the side of Execration. Throw Lotus Orb on Nando along with the Lincolns on him. He's already got a Lincolns of his own, and then try and siege those buildings. But o2 esports, they've smoked up and they're standing right next to MyPro, trying to use him as bait, even using a scan near the shrine to spot out possible locations while checking the Rosh pit. Whether or not he's respawned, now they know where he is. Yamate walks forward with the invis expended. They've got vision of them. The LSA doesn't quite come out. Lumik turns around with the hook shot, catches Yamate inside the invisibility. The laser refracts onto most of them. LSA comes out. Glimmer Cape drops. Sonic Wave catches 3. They blow up Kudasai while MyPro is on the run now. Nando's giving chase. They blink forward. They do get the Hex with the Tinker onto Razor while Pudge is going to go down on the back lines. Nando now chasing MyPro. He hasn't really stolen any damage from him, but he forces to the high ground and TP's out with his BKB, minimizing their losses, making it just the 2 supports going down on the side of o2 esports.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that was the best O2 could do. They really escaped well with their heroes, especially the Razor there.
Gonna have to defend bottom now though, and Yamate, he actually picked up a demon head, so they're going for some physical damage on him as opposed to the Aghanim Scepter. Nando trying to break through back to region, but this seems like a terrible idea. Never mind that. Back to region has now worn off with the troops entering from the middle lane. Hex comes out on the front lines. NG has been sent back packing into the fountain while Lumik actually hook shots onto his ally. They get the barracks nonetheless, and they're gonna move towards the middle lane when Nando has already started beating up on it.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about how the network lead wasn't looking like that much, but I think the Hex pickup on the Tinker has a different tale. It's been an item which is clearly differentiating these fights now. They really have no answer for it here.
Well, o2 finally get themselves, or rather, Execration gets themselves a lane of barracks here. o2 are now going to pop a smoke and try and find some pickoffs to create some space on this map, especially now that Roshan has respawned. If they can pick off Nando here in the pit by himself, this will be a huge victory coming out from lane. They miss on the hook though. Nando turns tail and runs with the phase boots and the SNY movement speed. He's now infested into Raging Potato. He sees him, he silences him, he grips out the life stealer. Yamate pops the BKB, the rages pop from Nando, the Lincolns gets triggered from a dismember while the hook shot comes in on the Pudge. MyPro stealing damage away from the life stealer while running forward onto the Oracle, who pops a Glimmer Cape and turns and runs. They're kiting the Razor as opposed to the Razor kiting them. Lumik is now chasing a BKB Razor. Yamate denied himself elsewhere while MyPro TP's out on the backlines. James is just firing rockets and lasers, killing off Kudasai's Rubik while Raging Potato wants the kill on Ling, but Ling is up on the high ground as he TP's out. Again, o2 esports will minimize their losses, but this time it's just not enough as Nando's gone back to bringing down Roshan.
Yeah, I think at this point O2 have no business fighting outside their base. They really can't. And they need to start off with hooks. They can't really start off with the Lina shadow blading in. That's not really a real scenario anymore.
Well, at bottom meanwhile, o2 just getting whatever little money they can before the next fight breaks out. Looks like the Radiant Courier died as well. Unfortunately, not sure whether or not that courier had any items on it.
Yeah, so did they buy a new gem? Or no, I think they picked it up back from Fudge maybe. They do have the Aegis now. They went for the Roshan, right?
Yeah. Who's the one holding on?
It's not a life stealer.
It's on the Tinker.
Oh, it's on the Tinker.
Yep, and the cheese is on Lumik's Clockwork.
I think the Aegis would have been better than keeping a Desolator at this point.
Nah, I disagree. I think you need that Desolator. Armor reduction is good versus buildings as well. I mean, Deso is one of his primary sources of damage. Without it, he doesn't hit nearly as hard. Nando starts doing some damage there. Meanwhile, on the other side, they've actually jumped in. The Hexes start coming out. They've got Morphling trapped up and brought down. Has a buyback. Commits it immediately while MyPro, he's stealing a lot of damage here in this fight from the Tinker. They've got a fair bit of damage to dish out here, but Nando and co are still hale and hearty while Lumik is walking forward with a false promise. He actually survives through it all. While they bring down NJ, the Sonic Wave whiffs entirely. But it doesn't really matter because the rest of his teammates are just bringing down buildings while James cleans up in the fountain. GG is the call. o2 esports' journey in the qualifier number 1 for TI7 has ended, and Execration will move on to the quarterfinals.
Yeah, I mean, too many cores for the side of o2 esports to deal with here. The Tinker coming online, the Queen of Pain coming online, the Lifestealer coming online, and offlane Morphling not really equipped to deal with that. Kind of blame their draft for their loss here because they did play pretty well.
Yeah, I don't want to say it's just the draft that was at fault here. Execration did play some good Dota as well. O2 did show some signs of life while defending the high ground, but it just wasn't meant to be. Execration were the better team today and will move on to the quarterfinals. Any idea who they're playing?